think will help your team.
All right.
Thank you, Matt. Welcome to Sports Center. Matt Perry and Jay Harris with you. We begin the program with more talking and a possible NBA Finals matchup.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting loose on the deuce here
for
the next couple of hours. Look, you talk about the Miami Heat. They were in the finals in the bubble a few years ago. Suns in the finals last year. No one taking them seriously, but it's a showdown tonight in Miami. Team with the best record in the East is set to face the squad with the best record in the West. Heat have won 12 of their last 14. Haven't been this many games above 500 since LeBron, Bosh, and D. Wade were roaming South Beach. Getting Oladipo Lowry back from injury should make them only better. Meanwhile, the Suns have won 25-30 since the calendar flipped to the new year. They also have the league's best road record. All of this despite being without CP3 for long term and recently without Devin Booker and Cam Johnson. Those teams have met once this season. That was in Phoenix 2 months ago. It was a blowout in favor of the Heat, who handed the Suns their worst home loss of the season. They did so without Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. Tyler Hero, 33 in that game. Now, again, each team, I want to drive this home. Best record of the respective conference. BPI, Basketball Power Index, has this to be the most likely NBA Finals matchup. However, our friends in the desert at Caesars, they're not buying it. Phoenix, the betting favorite to make it back to the finals. However, Miami, longer odds in the East than Brooklyn, Philly, and Milwaukee. Having said that, there is a town built in the desert on being right, so maybe Caesars knows something we don't as we welcome in our NBA insider, Brian Windhorst. So, Windy, what's the latest you're hearing? I mentioned a second ago, knows Chris Paul and Devin Booker. What's the latest you're hearing with those two?
Yeah, so we're now 3 weeks off of Chris Paul's left thumb fracture. That is about halfway through the optimistic timeline that he would be out before he could be reevaluated. So the hope is that by the end of the month, he will be cleared to begin basketball activities and he can get back playing a few games a couple of weeks before the playoffs. But, you know, the Suns are keeping their head above water without Chris Paul. They're 4-3, and even without Chris Paul and Devin Booker these last 4 games, they're 3-1. Booker, there could be some good news starting tonight. He was scheduled to rejoin the team today in Miami, and the hope is that he will be cleared to return from his 4-game absence due to health and safety protocols tonight in that big game against the Heat. The Suns have not officially released their injury report yet, so we don't have an official word, but we are expecting to get that good news before game time tonight.
We'll keep an eye on both of them. The Suns have been working on some of that chemistry. Some of the guys that aren't really scorers when Booker and Paul are in there have certainly taken advantage of this opportunity. Speaking of stars being hurt, a couple of stars in L.A. hurting. You've got LeBron James missing Monday's game with that sore knee. Kawhi Leonard has missed all of this season recovering from an ACL injury. So what's the latest you're hearing on both of those, starting with LeBron?
Yeah, so LeBron is officially listed as questionable for tonight's game in Houston. The belief was that they gave him 3 days off to get some of the swelling down, that he could come back and play. But from what I'm told, there's still some stiffness in there, and so it might come down to a game-time decision to see where he is. Remember, the last time this knee flared up, he missed 5 games before the swelling came down. He just played 115 minutes the previous 3 games. It's one of the heaviest minute loads of a 3-game stretch in his career. So that may have inflamed it in that 56-point victory that they had. Now, Kawhi, we have some interesting action here. Here last night in San Francisco, Kawhi, for the first time sort of out publicly before the games, shooting and making people wonder. Now, I checked in with the Clippers, and they told me no change in status, no change in timetable. We have just progressed to the level where Kawhi needs to be doing this before games. He has traveled on some road trips with the Clippers this year, but this is the first time he's done so publicly. Now, Paul George was also seen shooting within the last week, so some signs of life there, but I will say Kawhi's injury was in June. That's a real tight timetable, even for a partially torn ACL, so I wouldn't really get too excited about this, but obviously it's worth paying attention to as he is clearly making progress.
Injury in June, surgery in July. Clippers sit 8th in the West. BPI gives them a 70% chance to make the playoffs. Let's talk a little NBA. Brian Windhorst with us this afternoon. Windy, thank you. Let's go over the moon with the Warriors.
Oh, my.
Jackie Moon.
Oh, my.
Yeah. Those shorts look snug. They wanted to get out of a funk, so they got a visit from Will Ferrell, dressed as Jackie Moon. Let's flash back. Halloween 2018, Klay Thompson, he's familiar with it. He would finish with 18 points in a Warrior victory that day when they went full Flint Tropics from the movie. Here's how you know you're just kind of struggling. You got to breathe. Be like, hey, you. Oh, he made it.
Yeah, from the logo.
Can you even breathe in those shorts?
I hope so for his sake.
So do I. All right, well, all the pregame antics are over. Let's play hoops, shall we? Remember, the Warriors coming into this one a season-high 5-game losing streak. There's Thompson. Dubs up 8. Kuminga. Okay. Kuminga showing off the athleticism.
Good fantasy pickup.
Really? There seems like there's something going on there with the little fantasy back and forth. And then Clay, curl, hit, 20 points, rejoice. The Warriors snap the losing streak. Here's Steve Kerr.
He actually emailed me a while back, and I didn't believe it was him. And so we exchanged a couple of emails and then, concocted the plan. And he's a huge Klay Thompson fan, and he knows how much Klay loves dressing up as Jackie Moon. And so it was just kind of a natural fit, and it felt like a good time to do it, just to make everybody laugh in a tough stretch of the season.
That was so much fun. That was some of the most fun I've had on the court this year, and I'm very appreciative that Will could come out and lighten the mood, especially after the losing streak we had.
Back to the NBA now. Kyrie and the Nets looking to climb into that 8th spot with a win over the Hornets last night. If he's rounding in the form, maybe Jay, maybe the Nets warrant this hype of the favorites to come out of the East in Charlotte. No problem with Kyrie being able to play. Nets up 12. Second quarter, that's contested, doesn't matter. Kyrie, 20 points, 5 of 7 from the field, 4 threes in the first half. Nets led by 26. And he really was just carrying the load. Remember, we've yet to see Ben Simmons. KD's coming back. Kyrie was the X factor when Cleveland won those championships. Could he championship, rather? Don't want to give them plural. Give him a floater. Nets up 17. Not done yet. Nets up 13. Irving back to KD. Back to Irving. I mean, 9 threes in this one. 9 threes.
He had it rolling from the jump. I mean,
do whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
50th point of the night right here.
KD said he saw it in his eyes before the game.
Tell sometimes in an athlete if they're looking to make a point. Kyrie did just that. 50 points, 15 of 19 shooting, 132, 121 the final. What a good win for them. First player in NBA history to record 50 points, 9 3-pointers, and shoot 75% from the field in a single game. It's his third 50-piece since arriving in Brooklyn. No other player in team history has more than one. In this game, if Ben Simmons was in the Nets starting lineup and his return to Philly. Now, we've yet to see him suit up. You already get James Harden seeing his former teammates. But Simmons, who cited mental health as his reason for not playing for the Sixers and wanting out, it will garner him some reaction when he returns. He and Harden were the centerpiece of the blockbuster trade that could decide the Eastern Conference. Since the blockbuster swap at the deadline, Sixers have won 8 of 10. The Nets have lost 8 of 12. Even better for your Sixers fan, James Harden has played in 5 of those 10 games for Philly. They haven't lost. They last 2 wins coming against the Cavs and the Bulls, 2 teams that are chasing them in the